right, guys. We will start in approximately 2 minutes from now. Start in approximately 2 minutes. Okay, so we're going to wait for about 2 minutes into the live stream. It is 8 minutes into this live stream right now. Boy, do we have a show for you, okay? Obviously, it's geared towards Cain Velasquez. But not just that, some developing news going on with Prince Andrew. Apparently, Prince Andrew has been arrested recently, okay? And this is a game changer, okay? Because these are rich and powerful people. Not just that, not just rich and powerful. I think anybody can be rich and powerful, right? But imagine your mother, your late mother, was Queen Elizabeth, and your brother is the current King of England. That's a different level of power, and yet he's arrested. Because, once again, nobody's bigger than the program. We're going to talk about exactly why that is, right? So, the other topic we're going to talk about, obviously, Rich Trapper just exposed Wack 100 for snitching. Find out if this is true or not, if there's any validity to this, right? So, and on top of that, Iran is on the verge of getting struck by the United States. That's crazy to think about, right? We're going to be in another war once again, which is insane. So, yeah, man, we got some real interesting topics to talk about. Cain Velasquez, is he a Norteno? We're going to talk about that in exactly 20 seconds from now. 20 seconds from now, we're going to have that discussion, and then we'll go from there. So let's get this thing cracking in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. At exactly 10 minutes into this live stream, here we are. We begin with a show consisting of Cain Velasquez, a Norteno. And by the way, the person that said that he was a Norteno was none other than this guy named Hoodstock. For those of you who don't know who Hoodstock is, he is a Mexican gang member who's also a social media influencer, right? He got into it with lefty gunplay at one point, right? D-Man says, did Cain become a family man? Well, I mean, Cain has always been a family man, but according to some reports, Cain Velasquez is a Norteno gang member, and this is coming from another gang member from LA that's saying this, right? Now, let's find out exactly why he's saying this, right? For those of you that are outside of California, let me explain something to you, right? There's the North and the South when it comes to Mexican gangs, right? The Northerners are called the Norteños. Now, what's interesting about them, they sort of have a history behind them, right? If you look at the flag of the Norteños, obviously they're not to be mistaken by Bloods, right? Because they wear the red bandana. The red symbolizes something else, right? But if you notice, there is an eagle right there, which symbolizes what I believe is, Mexican farmers that lived in the Northern California area. So there's some historical reasoning behind their symbols, behind the number, behind the red bandana, as opposed to, let's say, the blue bandana, which is carried by Southerners, right? Which are Mexican Southerners known as Sureños. And then there's some people out there that would say a Sureño is somebody that is X, Y, and Z. Some people are considered Southsiders and not necessarily, but there's a whole wide range of history behind it that I don't want to get into because it will take away from the story of Cain Velasquez supposedly being a Norteno. Now let's hear what Gunners Collective, right? My man Gunners Collective, who by the way was a Norteno. Okay, let's hear what he had to say about Cain Velasquez. By the way, oh, okay, it seems that they are live right now, but all right, let's hear what he had to say about Cain Velasquez here. This was today, this video that he made, which, by the way, kind of inspired me to do this, right? So let's find out. Is he really a Norteno or not, right? Or is it just hearsay?
Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. like a torta with a snack habit. Fire, fire. Let's get straight to the intro.
All right, let's skip this intro right here. I don't want to. Okay, let's get this.
Was Cain Velasquez functioning as an active Norteno while incarcerated? Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. You know, the survey says that there's a lie, right? And not a lie made to disrupt Cain Velasquez's release. It's not a lie that's made by someone who...
Okay, so straight off the bat, I think it's safe to say that, yeah, I would agree that it is a lie. Let's take a look at it like this, right? Cain Velasquez is a civilian, right? Even though he's a very tough person, obviously former world champion, former heavyweight champion of the world, obviously a real legitimate tough guy. And as a result of that, this is what you get. You get people that are going to want to recruit him. That's just the name of the game, right? He's a tough guy. People would be down to recruit him, especially gangs in California. But in prison, the problem is that he was under protective custody, which automatically sort of disqualifies you as a gang member or a potential gang member. Now, Gunners Collective, apparently, when he was in prison, he was excommunicated by the Nortenos. This is the guy that we're watching the reaction to about Cain Velasquez, right? Which kind of inspired me to do this particular live stream or this video, right? And one of the reasons why, I mean, he got sent to protective custody because I believe that he did not want to do something for his gang, and so it's just a whole bunch of politics that I don't want to get into, that I don't think I should get into, but let's just say that he got disqualified, and therefore he got sent to the PC yard, and as a result of that, it automatically disqualifies you as such. Now, what Cain did was remarkably respectable in the world of the streets, right? Considering the fact that he shot at a child molester, okay? He shot at somebody who did some horrible things to his kid, and you know what? We all, as red-blooded males, would probably do the same thing. No doubt about it. Cain actually did it. And anybody is going to respect him based on those actions alone, but does it really mean that he is a gang member or a Norteno? Let's hear what Gunners Collective had to say about this.
Chance to do these types of things, because I got a lot of respect for Lucky from Hoodstocks and what his input is on a lot of situations, and how he either shows a lot of respect for Vatos up north or just doesn't participate in the disrespect, right? That's just the truth. I watch Hoodstocks all the time, and yes, just like any other podcast, sometimes people are just going to say things that are absolutely wrong, and it's a mistake, and it is what it is. Okay, I remember Loca being on Hoodstocks a couple months back and speaking about the Stockton mass shooting incident and saying it was Norteños that did it, like if it was just, she took a breath of air, right? Again, there was no reasoning behind that, no input to say that's who it was, and was kind of the blame game. But at the same time, a lot of people swept it under the rug. They say she's female, she doesn't really know the gang politics or what's going on, so let that go. The fact is, if you continue to put out a narrative about people or gangs or anyone without any knowledge that you can't get in college, what's going to happen is people are going to take that and run with it. They're going to believe it. Now, it's not a big deal to say Cain Velasquez is a Norteño or that he ever functioned as one, because I think right now pretty much everybody knows that is untrue. That is
all right. So let's be real and completely honest about this, right? It's not true. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why would you put that on the thumbnail, and why would you put that as a title? Well, I tell you what, it got you to this video, to this live stream in the first place, right? That's the name of the game. But if we are to really talk about it, and for you to listen to me talk about it or listen to other people talk about it, let's make it official. He is not. And that is on the basis of the fact that he was functioning under the PC yard while he was in prison, due to the fact that he is a famous person, due to the fact that he did something really horrible to a child molester, right? Obviously, that is That's not so horrible. That's kind of the right thing to do, but obviously horrible in a way where, you know, he shot at someone for that, right? He shot at somebody for the fact that they touched his kid. And once again, any one of us would have done that. Or at least we would say that we would do that, but Cain actually did it. However, whatever circumstances there is, him being in a PC yard disqualifies him automatically as a potential gang member. And here's another thing, right? What can he possibly do for that gang? Because, yes, he's a family man. Yes, he's just there to spend his time in prison for the short time that he did. And then after that, go home. He's not going home to a bunch of homies that are going to ask him to put in work or do X, Y, and Z or anything like that, right? He's a normal civilian who happens to be a professional athlete, nothing more, nothing less. But does he have the respect of people in that particular section? Of course. I think everybody respects Cain Velasquez for what he did, regardless of your religion, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of what you stand for. Everybody respects what Cain Velasquez did. However, Cain Velasquez comes from Northern California, and I think it's easy for people to sort of, I guess, say, hey, you know what, this is the reason why he is down with this group, because he's from this section or this and that, but it doesn't always mean that, right? But okay, let's get to the rest of this video right here.
It's false, right? Cain Velasquez has never been and will never be a Norteno because he is not a gang member, period. He is basically what you would call a civilian. Someone who grew up in areas...
There you go, a civilian, okay? I'm going to get to your question in a second, T. Myers, okay? Give me about 2 minutes, well, less than 2 minutes, and then I'm going to get to your question, okay? Because you posed a really interesting question there, and I'm going to address you on that.
Where, yes, Norteños are prevalent, Norteños are deep, but never got involved in the mix. Now, does he have Norteño friends? I'm sure he does. Anyone that lives in the city of San Jose has association or friendships with people that claim the North. Just like if you lived in Los Angeles, you're probably going to know someone who represents the South Side, that double S, right? But that doesn't mean...
And for the same reason why I know certain people in Stockton that are down with X, Y, and Z, right? It's just, yeah, the common thing that you're going to face and the common occurrence. Okay, let me get to this question right here real quick. Okay, he says, what is the best life advice you have received, and what is the one thing you would say to the younger generation to benefit them? I know this is off topic, off the stream, but would really appreciate the response. Okay, so Jay Myers, that is a very interesting question. So let me break down your question one at a time, okay? Because this is a very interesting question. I'm going to mark and pin this comment right here, okay? So what is the best life advice you have ever received? I'm going to tell you this, right? Take risk. And even if you fail at taking these risks, that in and of itself is a reward. The fact that you tried, okay? The fact that you tried is a reward in and of itself. For example, let's say you tried out for a job and you either got the job or didn't get the job, or somewhere down the line you got fired from the job. The point is, you tried, and that experience alone is a win. Okay, that's one thing that I think that a lot of people need to understand. Many people don't take risks because they are afraid of the consequences. They are afraid of failure. As a result of being afraid to fail, they never tried. I know a lot of guys that I grew up with in New Jersey that grew up wrestling but never did MMA. And a lot of them regret it. They always talk about, man, if I fought, this is what I would have done, this is what I would have done, or this and that. Yeah, but the reality is you never fought. Okay, I have fought. So no matter what I did in my fight career or lack of, or whatever that I didn't accomplish or didn't get to, by the end of the day, to me, it is a win. Because guess what? Here I am doing MMA live streams doing MMA content on YouTube, and to me, that's a win. Now, am I ever going to be as big as MMA Guru? Maybe not. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But the bottom line is that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it to build a community. I'm in it to build a different type of MMA content that is different from everybody else, right? Create something that I like, right? Well, what is it that I like? Well, I like crime drama. I like MMA. I like world politics. Let's all roll that into one particular YouTube content that I created. That's a win in and of itself. So regardless of whether I make it to 100,000 subscribers or not, by the end of the day, to me, it's a win because I have tried and created something that very few people out there have done, right? Or create something that is unique. So to me, that is a win. Now, on the other side of your question is, what is one thing you would say to the younger generation to benefit them? Yeah, that is the advice, is try, take a risk, especially when you're young, because when you're young, you have all the time in the world. There's going to come a time when you get a little bit older, you don't have all the time in the world, you're not going to have all the luxuries when it comes to time and effort that you could actually put in as a young man, as opposed to, let's say, when you're a 40-year-old. Now, I've been blessed by God at 40 years old to still have good health, to still be athletic, to still push really hard in the gym, and to show a certain level of athletic prowess. Now, I'm very proud of that, right? But at the same time, even though at 40 years old, I still feel young, there are certain responsibilities that I have at 40 years old that I did not have when I was 20. So what I say to the young men out there, please try, okay? Try and take a risk, because you never know where it will get you. He says, I know this is off topic, off the stream, but I would really, okay, so I hope that you appreciate that response. And in return, Jade Myers, let me know what you think about that advice and if there's anything that you would add to that. And Jay John says, don't let ICE find you. I mean, what a really stupid and ignorant comment on the part of Jay John. Like, what makes you think that ICE would look for me in any kind of way, right? Like, I think you're saying that based on the fact that, okay, well, you know, I'm not a white American, so therefore somehow that ICE is going to come and find me. And then here you are with this performative political stance that you're making by coming in here saying all types of stupid things just to what? To feel better about yourself, Jay John. You know what, Jay John? Let's take a look at your profile here. So you don't have any subscribers. You've been on YouTube for 12 years. You don't have any activity going on with what you got. And we don't even know what you look like. I can't even see your profile pic. I mean, it's just typical of you to come in here and say stupid things just to feel better about yourself, and also to create political performative actions just so that you can fit in a certain political apparatus in a certain political circle. That's just really what you are. You don't even know what stance I take. You don't even know what type of political affiliations I have, nor do you even understand the political apparatus that I'm a part of or what it is that I believe in. You just see a guy with a beard, you know that I look Muslim, you know that I look Arab, so therefore you just say, oh, well, don't let ICE find you. Yeah, bravo, good for you. Here's another thing. You don't got $5,000 in your bank account. How does that feel? How does that feel that you got your check engine lights going off, you got your tires going off, you got all types of bills that you got, and you can't do anything about it, and yet you come into my chat and say, don't let ICE find you. Yeah, real good one. What a sucker you are, bro.
You participate as a gang member with them, you align yourself with them, or you're even loyal to them. All that means is, hey, they're doing their thing, you're doing yours. Now, a little background on Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was born in the city of Salinas. But quite contrary to what people think, even though the city of Salinas probably has the majority of their gang members being Nortenos, the history of Salinas being the mecca of the northern movement, basically the Brown House or the White House, however you want to call it, there's also Southerners there. There's also a small community of South.
Okay, so that's interesting, right? Apparently, Cain Velasquez comes from a place where the Norteno movement was born out of. So that's interesting in and of itself. So, yeah, that's quite interesting.
Outsiders, well established, that have been there for decades, that live in Salinas. So that goes to show you, just because you're Mexican, you're brown, and you're born in Salinas, that doesn't automatically make you a Norteño. They put a diaper on you, not a red paño. Okay, so anyone that's born in Salinas, people immediately are like, hey, he's Mexican, he's born in Salinas, he must be a Norteño. No, because I know a couple Southsiders that were born in Salinas as well. No disrespect to the Baltos and Salas pushing that Norteño movement, but the truth is, in fact...
Well, I mean, obviously, right, wherever you're going to have one group, the opposition is always going to be there, but for whatever reason, in the South, with Southerners, it doesn't seem to have a presence of any Norteños down there in LA, right? There's no Norteños in LA, in fact, right? The only time you'll ever see a Norteño down in LA is when they go to Universal Studios, or when they go to Anaheim and Disneyland, right? Or some sort of theme park, Magic Mountain, or whatever is available out there, right? Maybe even go to Santa Monica, and then they run across other Southerners in Santa Monica. Next thing you know, they got a street fight going on in the middle of Venice, right? That's just the reality of the situation. But when it comes to the Southerners, right, in the northern parts, I feel like the Southern movement was born in the northern parts because maybe these guys were not people that were down with the North, or people that were harassed by the North, or people that are just in complete oppositional defiance of the majority of what is going on within that gang movement of that area, right? That's why they have a lot of Southerners in the northern side of California, and they call them upstate people. He says, who gives a royal F, Rob Peters says. So, Rob, let me ask you something, Rob. What is your IQ level? I really want to ask you a really serious question, right? What is your IQ level, Rob? What is your IQ level? I want you to answer me right now. You got about 10 seconds to answer me, otherwise I'm going to ban you out of this chat. Okay? 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, I'm getting you out of here, okay? I'm getting you out of here. I'm putting you on a permanent timeout. Okay, he says, yeah, don't ban him. No, I am. I'm going to ban him because he didn't answer me right away. And you too, John, if you're not going to start engaging, I'm going to ban you up out of here too. So please, continue to talk, continue to engage. Otherwise, I'm getting you up out of here. Okay, and then here's another one right here. You're banned. I don't even want to read your stupid comment. Boom, there you go. You're up out of here. John, here's the thing, John. Here's the thing. It's a stupid comment. Why would you come to somebody's chat and say, hey, who gives a royal F? Well, you apparently do. You apparently do, because you went out of your way to say something to feel better about yourself. Guys, let me explain something to you, okay? You don't have $5,000 in your bank account. A lot of you don't. And I'm saying that in general terms. Maybe you're a millionaire and I don't even know it. I highly doubt it. I don't know what millionaires would come into a random chat and just talk smack for no reason. But whether you are or not, it's irrelevant to me. What I do know is that you just want to come in here to feel better about myself. So there you go. Nathan says, yes, I do. Okay, well, great for you, bro. But here's the thing. You also are anonymous online. I really could care less about who you are, what you got going on, or whether you do or you don't. The bottom line is, I'm speaking in general terms. A lot of Americans right now are poor and broke. There's a lot of people that don't have $5,000 in their bank account. He says, I have a piece of cardboard worth $5K. Okay, great. He says, then why are you talking? Well, what is your IQ, Nate? Nathan Erickson, what is your IQ? Do you have a definitive number that states what your IQ level is? I want to know right now, Nathan Erickson, what is your IQ level? And I bet you that you're going to answer me with a high number just to feel better about yourself, right? Well, I am Nathan Erickson. I have an IQ of 185, even though I never really tested my IQ. Come on, let's hear it. What is your IQ level? Because why would you ask, then why are you talking? Why would you ask that? What is YouTube for? Well, YouTube is for people to go online and talk, make content. John says, let's clarify something. Are you Mexican? No, I'm not. I'm Arab American. So, yeah, not Mexican at all. And it wouldn't matter either way if I was or if I wasn't. So, you know, but I'm not. So I'm an Arab American, and I hope that answers your question either way. Look, notice how Nathan has nothing to say after that, right? You don't have a number. You said you don't eat pork. Then no, no, I don't. Pastry. I don't at all. I'm Muslim. I'm also a Muslim. I'm also observing Ramadan in the current moment of time. So yeah, I don't eat during the day. I'm just fasting during the day. It's not bad. Out in the West Coast, sun up till sundown is like 12 hours, whereas across the world, you go to Europe or the Middle East, maybe it's a little bit longer from sun up to sundown. It's maybe 16 hours, 14. It all varies in different parts of the world in the ratio of sun up till sundown with the hours that you fast. So 12 hours isn't bad. I fasted way longer than that outside of Ramadan, but it's like fasting with water and coffee. So right now it is like 9:27 in the West Coast right now. Usually in most Ramadans, it would be probably Tarawih prayer at this time right now. He says, you're Arab, so you are safe for now. Well, you know what? Now, what's crazy about that, John, is that during the post 9/11 world, right, the Arabs were the focal point of law enforcement attention. Okay? Well, now, in the era of ICE and in the era of anti-immigration, in the era of Trump, in the era of Make America Great Again, it seems that Latinos are the target. And I never would have imagined that's what it is. Mr. Case Claiborne says, I like the Mophie behind you. The grayscale images are very beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Case Claiborne. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Skippy says, I am from Ghana. My IQ is 70, like most of Africa. Okay, I'm assuming you're probably not African. I'm assuming you're probably not from Ghana. And for you to say that, I mean, it sounds very self-deprecating for a self-proclaimed African, and I think it's just a little bit of some racial undertones for you to say that just to what? Just to create some kind of shock value? Like, what do you think, you're Sean Strickland or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. But anyways, yeah, you have some emojis here with, you know, a Christian symbol and an Islamic symbol. And, okay, so I see what you're saying. He's like, yeah, a bit rude, man. What is rude exactly, Pastry? Let me know exactly what is rude, right? What did I say, or what do you perceive as rude? Let me know. All right, let's get back to the Cain Velasquez topic, and then we can continue on rambling and bantering and having a go at each other. He says, about the 70 IQ guy, not you. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, sorry. A little miscommunication there. Gotcha.
Are out there. Now, upon being born in Salinas, Cain Velasquez moved to Arizona and was raised in Arizona the majority of his life. In fact, he went to the university out there in Arizona, wrestled at that university, did very well, was not involved with gang violence, gangs, doesn't dress like a gang member.
So he says, really can't be racist. Okay, well, elaborate why, right? Mr. Claiborne says, I appreciate the journey of Ramadan. I am not Muslim, sir, but I respect the beliefs, and Ramadan is truly important time of reflection and love. Okay, that's a beautiful and positive message there, Mr. Claiborne. I really appreciate that, and you are right? I think during Ramadan, I get a lot more humble, simply because during the day, you're not eating, you're not thinking about eating or having all of these pleasures that you normally would have during the day. So yeah, you do kind of have a deep self-reflection on a lot of things. And you know what? I feel sort of lighter, right? Usually, you know what? I still do train in Ramadan sometimes. Sometimes I still train in Ramadan. And when I go to the gym, I feel so light because I'm not carrying a whole bag of water with me, because whenever I go training, I carry loads of water with me because I'm doing all sorts of workouts, different stuff. I'm getting in the pool and this and that. And so on top of, doing all the regular, fitness gym stuff, box jumps, one-arm snatches, sled pushes, weightlifting, and things of that nature. So, yeah, really appreciate that, my man. But, yeah, it is a time of reflection, and I often reflect how much I need very little just to be happy. And I think that is the beautiful reminder of Ramadan. So thank you for that.
His persona is not a gang member. When a lot of people see him make it to the UFC and he had that brown pride tattooed on him, a lot of people took that as exactly what it was, brown pride. He was.
So when Cain Velasquez came out with the brown pride tattoo, yeah, a lot of people were not too happy about that. And then let's talk about race on this particular topic, right? Many people had this idea of saying, well, you know what if quote-unquote had, white pride tattoo? What if Sean Strickland had white pride tattoo? What if Brock Lesnar had white pride tattoo? Guys, let's be honest about something, right? Being proud of being white is not similar to being proud of being Muslim or being proud of being Latino, because really, white is a race. There's no specific white that you're talking about. You're just speaking in general. Like, what do you mean you're proud to be white? What do you mean white pride? Do you mean you're proud to be Russian? Do you mean that you're proud to be German? Do you mean that you're proud to be Irish? Do you mean that you're proud to be British? Notice how when somebody says, you know what, I'm proud to be British, I'm proud to be Irish, I'm proud to be X, Y, and Z from a European country, nobody says, hey, that Danish guy is racist. That Dutch guy is racist for saying that he's proud to be Dutch. Because Dutch is a nationality, it's an actual identity, whereas white it's a race, but it's not necessarily reflective upon a singular culture, right? So, yes, of course, people are going to take issue to that. Now, brown pride, that right there is sort of in the same category, because when you say brown, what exactly do you mean? There's all sorts of brown people in the world, right? Some could say Arabs are brown. I would tend to argue that we're olive, right? Olive as in, the type of olives that we eat, right? Indicative of our Mediterranean diet, right? So, yeah, I mean, but there are people that classify them as brown. They classify Indians as brown. They classify some Asians as brown. So, what is it exactly do you mean when you say brown pride or white pride? Now, here's the thing. Would anybody take issue if the tattoo said Mexican pride instead of brown pride? Because brown pride seems very generalized. Skippy says, you're a mirror, you reflect so often. When you mean your, I think there's a little bit of a grammar issue you have there, right? It's your with you, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, just for future reference. Mr. K says, that is true. Racial versus religious cultural influence. Iru N2 says, yeah, totally agreed. As a white Hispanic, people refer to me as both white and brown, which kind of confuses me at times. Okay, well, let me alleviate your confusion, N2, okay? Depending on what your racial makeup is, the majority of Hispanics are white. I had a few essays come up to me and say, hey, Holmes, you speak Spanish like a white boy. I was in some random hood somewhere in California, somewhere in Northern California, right? I ran across people that looked like they spoke Spanish. I asked them some directions in Spanish. They said, you talk Spanish like a white boy. And I'm like, well, I think what you mean to say is that I have an American accent. And by the way, Spanish is a white language. It is a white European language, right? People often think that Spanish is like somehow this noble Mayan language or whatever, when it is clearly not, right? The Mayans had their own language. The Native Americans had their own language, and it has nothing to do with Spanish. It just happens to be a language that they had adopted, which is crazy because people who have genetic backgrounds of being Mayan or Native American, they have this insane pride for the Spanish language in ways that, let's say, African Americans don't have the same pride for the English language, right? Think about that. When was the last time you seen an African American proud of the fact that they speak English? Yet you have these people of Mayan and Native American descent who have this insane level of pride as to say, hey, you know what? I'm proud of my Spanish heritage, right? Which, by the way, Spanish means you're from Spain. No, it just means that you speak Spanish, right? You're not from Spain, but yeah. Mr. Clay says, where I come from, Mexican pride or respect, Mexican is almost a derogatory term to some far north of the border, but Mexican is the name. Okay. Johnny Depp. Okay, what an interesting screen name you have here. Obviously not the real Johnny Depp, but he asked me, do I like Mexican food? You know what, Johnny Depp, as somebody who has lived in California now for 20 years, it has been 20 years now since I lived in California, which is insane to say, right? You know, from my teenage years, growing up in New Jersey, and then going into the military, then leaving, and then coming back to California. Yeah, 20 years now, it's crazy, but when you're out here, yeah, you'll definitely love Mexican food because California has the best Mexican food of all time. Joseph Johnson says, I'm from Seoul, I know Kung Fu. Yeah, a really ignorant statement on your part, Joseph Johnson, right? You're talking to somebody that has a good understanding of Asian culture, and for you to say, yeah, and that's why you retracted your statement, right? But I already read your statement, now you look like a complete idiot. There is no Kung Fu in Korea. Okay, they practice Taekwondo, they practice Judo, they practice other martial arts, but it is not Kung Fu that is their main martial arts. That is for the Chinese, but just a little history lesson for you. Ali Khan, he says, hey man, good to see you again. Good to see you again as well, man. Wanted to get in here and get it cracking, and here we are. Danny Conham says, I am the cousin to Johnny Depp by his grandmother, and we are the Rental Indian tribes. His grandmother comes from the Chippewa Indian mix in the eastern band of the Cherokees. Okay, very interesting stuff, man. Thank you for sharing that, Danny Cunningham, as he is called online. Ali Khan says, I try to eat healthy today in terms of protein, yogurt, etc. Well, I hope that your fasting is going well. I hope that everything is going right. Hopefully your fasting goes well, and we got about 28 days to go, my man. He says, yeah, when opening my fast. Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Claiborne says, the indigenous Americans met by the Spanish, resulting the Tainos. That's right. That's right. Johnny Depp says, I don't know that guy. Dang, okay. So he's claiming that he doesn't know you. The Johnny Depp here, at least the Johnny Depp of this live chat, is saying that he doesn't know you. But obviously Danny is saying that he is a relative of Johnny Depp. Shout out to Johnny Depp, man. Great on him for winning that court case against, against his ex or whatever, right? I know that was a messy divorce they had going on and a messy lawsuit, but he ended up winning. He says, I'm from China. I am a dragon. Okay, well, there you go, right? Mr. Joseph Johnson, who is from China. I mean, maybe your dad is a white American and maybe you have a mom who is Chinese, so then that would probably make sense. And then there you go again, redacting your statement because you know that I'm calling you out on the stupidity that you made. Listen, this is a channel for high IQ people. If you say something stupid, I mean, I'm going to call you out on it, and I'm just going to correct you, right? And the best course of action is to take it humbly and say, you know what, thank you for correcting me, because guess what? This is something that you will also learn about this channel. If there is something that you can correct me on, and you have the right information on that particular matter, I will take that into consideration. He says both parents are from China. Okay, then you're basically operating under a fake name and a fake yeah, a fake name and a fake profile, and of course you retract your statement again. All right, back to Cain Velasquez.
Proud of his ethnicity. He was proud to be representing the Mexican American culture. You know, Cain Velasquez was the first Mexican American heavyweight champion of all times in the UFC. So there was a lot to be proud of. But that tattoo, that city of Salinas, that representing out there in Arizona as a person, didn't make him a Norteno. That made him a brown person, happy to be brown and representing it well, right?
He says, new subscriber, you're my new favorite non-binary streamer. Well, I am nowhere near non-binary, nor do I identify with all of these weird things or whatever. To me, I'm a red-blooded Muslim male, and that's all there is really to it, and I'm proud of that. And if you don't like that, then I don't know what to tell you, but thank you for subscribing either way. Johnny Depp says he just wanted to call him Captain Da. He said you could call me da, whatever that meant. Yeah.
Now, Cain Velasquez ends up in San Jose, and you might say to yourself, you got Salinas, you got Arizona, now you got San...
Mr. Claiborne says, have a good night, sir. I have a simple but always a potent quote. And he goes, we will never know the world peace until 3 people can simultaneously look at each other straight in the eye. Huh. That's an interesting post. He says, are you a Mexican Muslim? No, I am not. I'm Arab. I'm half Arab and Pacific Islander. So, you know, if that means I look Mexican, then so be it. Hey, I happen to have been welcomed to a lot of Mexican hoods, a lot of Mexican barrios, and that's probably because I look like, you know, one of the raza. But yeah, you know, I'm half Arabic and Islander, brother. So, but I am Muslim, you know, regardless of what my ethnicity is, even though I am, you know, racially ambiguous. He says, the powers that be sent me to tell you that they own you. Well, whoever those powers may be, if you're not talking Allah or, you know, the one God, then I don't know what to tell you, right? You know, there are no powers that own me other than God, and I stand by that firmly. But shout out to you, Someone on Earth, man. What an interesting screen name. Someone on Earth 2013. Okay.
San Jose. Why did he move to San Jose?
Well, the reason why Cain Velasquez moved to San Jose is because they had all the best fighters out there at the time, and they had the best coaches, and they even built an even better team after the generation of Cain Velasquez, because came in Khabib, Islam, and Team Eagle. So there you have it.
Did he go out to San Jose because he was a Norteno striving and wanted to participate in the shenanigans that are happening out there in San Jose as we speak? Absolutely not. Cain Velasquez went to San Jose because he is part of the MMA club out there called AKA, where he trains. That's where his team was. He's from Team AKA. They've trained people like Daniel Cormier, people like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and his father, that was their base out in California. And anyone that knows, the AKA gym is located on the south side of San Jose. That's why Cain Velasquez was there. Cain Velasquez took roots in a place where he was trained for the UFC and end up buying a house and end up raising his children and his family out there in San Jose. Now, that doesn't...
So, long story short, that made Cain Velasquez now a longtime resident of San Jose. Joseph Johnson says, brother, why ignore me? You know what? I'm not ignoring you. I answered every single one of your chats. Maybe your comments got... You know what? Sometimes YouTube automatically erases comments. So... you know, and I don't have any of my moderators here right now, so no one is really, you know, like erasing any comments that you say. So if you don't see your comments, write it again, and if they erase it again, then YouTube probably deems it, you know, undesirable for the viewers to consume. So, you know, just watch what you say, but you can say whatever you want, but just watch what you say within the guidelines of YouTube, of course. He says, are you ignoring Joseph? No, I'm not. You know, it's just, a lot of people have asked this before, right? You know, when they say, hey, how come my comment isn't popping up, or are you erasing comments? No, that's just how YouTube operates sometimes.
doesn't mean he hasn't associated with Norteños. Because like I said, if you live in a place like Salas or even San Jose, you're going to run into a lot of Norteños. And that doesn't mean that interaction has to be gang related. You might know someone who still is from Palmas or Horseshoe or whatever gang that's out there, right? Metal Fair and all these different Norteño gangs. But he's also going to be in San Jose where there's a lot of upstaters too. Barrio Sur 13.
Says, are you a good boy? Sure. If you don't piss me off or you don't provoke me, yeah, I can be a good boy. Sure.
Sus Santos Pride, all these different gangs, right? So he might have association. He might live closer to where they represent. It's all congested. There's north and south barrios all over the place in San Jose. Now, of course, Norteños are the majority, but that doesn't mean shit. You know, no one knows who that guy's friends with, who Cain Velasquez is associating with, or what gym he frequents that north or south go to. Okay, that's just the way it is. When Lucky from Hoodstocks said, and I quote, that he was just wanted to send his respects and he was happy, basically, just like all of us were, that Cain Velasquez was able to get out on them bogus-ass charges. I mean, look, he did shoot, whatever. It's water under the bridge now. But I think we all know what he shot for and why. And I think we can all respect it, especially as parents, as fathers, right? There's never a room for being a vigilante, but there is room for being vigilant, okay?
A lot of people will say, you know what, if somebody ever touches my kid or does X, Y, and Z, this is what I'm going to do. A lot of people say that. Cain Velasquez actually went out and did it. Now, a lot of people are saying, why didn't Cain just go and beat him up, right? I mean, with the kind of skill set that Cain Velasquez has going on, right, wouldn't you think that he would just go and beat him up? Let me tell you something, guys. I'm going to tell you exactly why Cain did not beat him up, okay? I know a lot of people that are street people, okay? I know a lot of them. But they don't have the fighting skills that I do. They have not trained the level of martial arts that I have. But they are far more dangerous than me. You want to know why? Take a wild guess why these people are a lot more dangerous than me, even though I'm more skilled than they are. What is it that they have that makes them more dangerous than me, yet I'm the one with the fighting skills? I let you decide exactly what I'm talking about right there, okay? I let you decide exactly what I'm talking about right there. So, yeah. He says, soon. Okay. Splurt. Shout out to you. Johnny Depp says, have you heard of the gangs called Artichoke, Paperclip, and Castle Bravo? No, I haven't. Who exactly is that? Yeah, let me know, and in what context are you talking about?
There's room for being a proud father and a father that's going to protect his cubs no matter what. And that's just it, right? So when Lucky from Hoodstock says, hey, man, respects, Cain Velasquez is out. Of course, it's a hot story, man. He just got out. Everybody's talking about it. He says, even though he's a Norteño. So.
Okay, so this is a vlogger or a podcaster who happens to be gang affiliated, right, with the Southern Mexicans in LA saying this, right? He's saying, yeah, you know, shout out to Cain Velasquez, even though he's a Northerner. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you, right? A lot of gang members don't understand the world of MMA. Just like a lot of people in the MMA world don't understand about the world of, of gang banging, right? Well, you're come to the right channel because I happen to understand both worlds. So this is a reason why I do this content. And speaking of Norteños, shout out to one of the most famous Norteños that's in this chat right now, Mark Haney. Shout out to Mark Haney. Okay, you know, he is from that persuasion, okay, up north, right? You know, he's a Northerner. You know, he is of that persuasion. And by the way, Mark Haney went to war with Kamala Harris. Literally went to war with Kamala Harris. All I gotta say is look up Mark Haney versus the state of California, okay? Because he fought Kamala Harris, okay, who was supposed to be the president of the United States. But that's a different story. Either way, that's, man, that is insane, bro. I could never say that. I could never say that I fought against Kamala Harris. Well, I mean, not physically, because if me and Kamala Harris were to actually fight, yeah, I would absolutely Chris Brown Rihanna her ass. Yeah, man, he's like, damn, Mark, you beefing with Kamala. He was, bro. Man, listen. That's how real this dude is, bro. You know, and he's a northerner. So, you know what, man? If there was one particular live stream that I want him to be in, it is this right now, because he's a northerner and he could tell you a lot about that organization. Okay, now look, going back to what I was saying, right? A lot of gang members and a lot of rappers don't understand the world of MMA. For example, take Lefty Gunplay, who's a southern rapper in southern. Well, he's not Mexican, but he's from a Mexican hood. But either way, yeah, he won that Grammy with Kendrick Lamar. Okay, he won that Grammy with Kendrick Lamar, and before that, he said that Nate Diaz was a Fresno Bulldog. And I didn't understand why he would classify Nate Diaz as a Fresno Bulldog or affiliated with that gang. I've told you guys plenty of times before that I never believed Nate Diaz was a gangster, even though he personified himself as a Stockton gangster. He was never part of any gang in Stockton. In fact, this is why I say this, right? Before I ever lived in Stockton, when I was living in New Jersey, I was never in no gang. I was never down with anybody or this and that. But when you live in Stockton, you got to be down with somebody, because it is a volatile place where you're either going to be down with a gang or you're going to be down with the police, and I was not going to be down with no police, okay? That's just the reality of it, right? Mark Haney says, I thought Cain leaned south, honestly, especially with the brown pride tats. You know what? It's interesting that you said that, Mark, right? The reason why I say that it's interesting that you say that is because a lot of northerners, right? All the Norteños that I've been around, they got a little bit of a black swagger to them. I mean, that's not controversial to say, right? Like, northern Mexicans have a much more black swagger to them in comparison to, let's say, you know, the South, right? You know, for example, in the South, they'll never, like, they're big homies, bro. In the South, they will never allow them to say the N-word, right? Especially even with a term of endearment. But when you deal with northern Mexicans, bro, they drop the N-bomb like it's nothing. They drop the N-bomb like they're, you know, brothers from the hood. They're brothers from, like, Atlanta or something. You know, they drop it like it's nothing. He says, it wouldn't surprise me, though, if he is a homie. Yeah, bro. But here's the thing, right? Obviously, Gunner Collectives is saying that he's not, right? And he's giving plausible reasons as to why. And I get it, right? Cain Velasquez is an athlete. Not that that ever stops anybody from, you know, being part of a gang or anything. But it's just that the trajectory of the life that he lived, right? He said that he lived in Salinas, he wrestled out there, went to college in Arizona, and then after he left Arizona, he went to move to San Jose. So somewhere down the lines, right, where is it that he was a gang member, or where is it that he was affiliated with these people while he was trying to continue a heavyweight UFC career with the run that he had going on? Jimmy Tuna says they got a blagger. What is a blagger exactly? Johnny Depp says, oh, wow. Mark Haney says he sat with somebody in jail in Santa Clara County is Norteno jail. Yeah. That's right. That's right. I remember you told me, Mark Haney, that's where you were in there with the juggalos, right? That's where you met a lot of juggalos that were banging Peckerwood, right? So, okay, yeah, that checks out. That makes sense. So, I mean, obviously, you're from that persuasion. You know, you were in that particular county. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that he ran across some Norteños. But here's the thing, though. He's a celebrity. So, automatically, they're going to put him in PC. Now, here's the thing. Blueface, okay, recently just got out of prison, right? After he got out of prison, man, Blueface blew up once again, and now he's getting a boxing match. Now he's doing interviews with Adam 22. You know, just a lot of good stuff going on with Blueface, right? Well, Blueface is a celebrity, but when he was locked up in LA County Jail, he never went PC. He went to the yard with the other Crips. with the other homies, right? Our homie, obviously, you know, yeah, the homies, right? Because when somebody uses the word our homies, that's usually an indication as to say, like, well, they're my homies, right? Or, you know, as opposed to, let's say, referring to the other side as a third person point of view. Johnny Depp says, have you had, I think what you mean is, have you heard of the famous Southern California gang member named Jack? I mean, what an immature, you know, comment to make, but all right. Mark Haney says, yeah, there's a lot of paisas in that jail. Paisas meaning they don't bang south or rep it, but 1/3 of the paisa are, in fact, Southsiders. But mostly that jail is Norte and Paisa. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
This is a perfect situation, an example of the North and South divide. You know, that respect to Cain and letting everyone know, hey, man, that's cool that Vato got out. That's cool that he's out there with his family. That's cool that he did his time like a real one, took it on the chin and went out there and just did his thing. Everything, all that doesn't even matter because the key to that whole little...
Okay, how's the volume, by the way?
Everything, all that doesn't even matter because the key to that whole little...
Okay, how's the volume? I was gonna say, is there a little bit of a static that you guys are hearing? Let me know. Let me know if you guys are hearing a little bit of a static. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this static, real quick. Okay, let's let me see if let me make sure that I got. Okay, let's let me see if let me make sure that I got. Okay, this is a little better. Okay. So all right, okay, back to what Mark Haney was saying. Now, if he went to Alameda County, that is 100% North A jail. They won't house Southsiders there at all. Okay.
Statement was, even though he's a Norteno. What is the difference between North and South that's so bad that you have to say, even though he's a Norteno? Like, yeah, man, it's cool, even though he's one of them guys, right? Like, fuck them guys, basically. Look, I understand that Lucky is a representative of the double S, the Southsiders, right? And me, myself, I lived on the opposite spectrum, right? With the Norteno cause for a lot of years. But
Johnny Depp says, is jail weird inside? I tell you what, I've never been to, well, I've spent time in a city jail, right? You know, for, you know, punching someone out or whatever, but that's neither here or there. But as far as county jail or federal prison or county prison or state prison, I've never been. But I would imagine, just my experience alone being in a cell, right, for a couple of nights or whatever, by the way, found, you know, not guilty of any of these things, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, look, yeah, it is weird inside. Obviously, your freedom is being taken away. It is weird, right? But I think if you are somebody or somebody that is known in the world of prison or in the world of streets, it may be just a little bit easier. I'll tell you this, right? 2009, I went in for, you know, punching someone out, right? I went in there and I noticed that all the Asians that were in there, you know, they were giving me, you know, all types of magazines. You know, they were giving me National Geographic magazines. They were, you know, having my back, giving me some food or this and that. So, you know, there it is, right? You know, if you are a somebody or know somebody or you're known to people, you know, let's just say, yeah, you get treated fairly well. But still, your freedom is your freedom by the end of the day. And yeah, it is weird inside. So it's never normal. So yeah, he says, are there any guys making out in jail? I mean, I'm sure there are, right? I'm sure there are. I've never seen it because, you know, I never really spent, you know, a long time in these, you know, situations to really, you know, give you a definitive answer as to, you know, whether that is a common thing or that is you know, a continuous or consistent action that is happening on, you know, on a frequent basis. That I couldn't tell you. But I would imagine, yeah, that is a reality to a certain extent.
But going to the youth authority to Fred C. Nellis and Whittier and being around several Southern gang members, Southerners, Southsiders representing the double S, I gained a lot of respect for their get down. I gained a lot of respect for the way they carry themselves. And one of the things, it was an eye-opening experience to me to understand that there was never, even though they're a Southsider, it was always a, even though they're brown, right? Mexican. Same shit, just different areas that we grew up in. People always ask me, Gunner, you know, I always, man, you show a lot of respect to the South Side. You should have been a surrender, but I'm not, though. Okay, if I would have grew up in Southern California, I'm sure as a brown man, I probably would have gravitated towards that. If I'd have grew up in Fresno,
You know what? That's true, right? Think about it like this, right? Obviously, Snoop Dogg is known to be from Long Beach, right? Now, imagine if Snoop Dogg grew up in West Side Compton, right? He would be a Blood, right? Imagine if Nipsey Hussle grew up in Inglewood. He would have been a Blood. Now, imagine if the game, Jay Sean Taylor, grew up in Long Beach. He would have been a Crip. That's just the reality of the situation, right? Like, if you think about it, like, you're repping a gang or a neighborhood because your mother pays rent in that particular section, right? And she just happens to live in that section, or your family just decided to live in that section, and there you go, right? You know what I mean? It's a very weird thing, but yeah, I mean, you know, I suppose if you're a gang member in one place, you're going to be a gang member elsewhere. It's just in you to do something like that. But who you are, who the gang that you're going to join with, I guess it's just predicated on just a random luck of the draw. Just like everything else in life.
Been barking all over the motherfucking place. If I would have grew up in Chicago, I probably would have been a Land King or a Count or whatever the fuck they got going on there, because 9 times out of 10, I probably would have still been a gang member because I was enraptured and believed that being a gang member was part of the fabric of our culture. See, I didn't just do it for the money and the women and the notoriety and the tattoos and to look cool, right? Because I still look stupid.
All right, so it's interesting that he said that, right? He said that that I would have been a gang member because, you know, it is just the fabric of what our people do. Look, I'll tell you what, now he said that he would have been a gang member anywhere, right? He would have been a Latin King in Chicago if he lived there. He would have been, you know, on Dietas if he was in New York, which is another Latino gang in that part of the world. He's saying that this is the fabric of their people. Now, look, I understand what he means by that, and specifically for the Northern persuasion, they don't strike me as like a normal gang. And let me explain what I mean by that, right? They strike me also as sort of like a political movement. When you look at the Norteno flag, okay, I want to show you this Norteno flag because there's a lot of meaning behind this, right? So, okay, the Norteno flag, which is this right here, right? This red eagle that you see right here, right? When you see this red eagle, obviously that is in reference to the Nortenos, but there's a deep historical meaning behind it. Okay, so let's try and understand what the significance is behind this, right? It represents a coalition of Northern California Hispanic street gangs, okay, affiliated with the Nuestra Familia prison gang, often featuring red field with a stylist black Aztec eagle, the original United Farm Workers. Okay, so that is the symbol behind it. It is from the United Farm Workers. So red field signifies the primary color of the Norteno Gang Alliance, often used to differentiate from the blue associated with the Southern California-based Sureños. Now, the Hulga bird, the Aztec eagle, was adopted by the United Farm Workers Union. This is a black eagle, symbolizes the Chicano pride and, in context, Northern Californian heritage, okay? Because there's a lot of people out here in the North, man, they are proud to be from Northern California. We know that Southern California got Hollywood, they got all the beaches, they got Santa Monica, they got Malibu, they got all of that, right? And even Adam 22 once made fun of the North, saying, man, I could never live in the North. You know, there's no civilization up there. And, you know, obviously he's a Southern California guy saying that. And, but a lot of people out here are proud to be from Northern California. Even people who are not gang members, right? They love Northern California. Hey, listen, there's less traffic than it does in LA. There's family unity and history for a lot of people that have lived here. So, you know, that has something to do with it as well. So, okay, going back to the Aztec beer eagle, right? The Aztec eagle, Northern California heritage, though it is used by gangs, is a co-option for the labor movement symbol. Okay, so yes, this is a symbol for the Norteños, but originally this was for the labor, labor movement. So the number 14 represents the N, the 14th letter of the alphabet, which stands for Nuestra Familia, our family, the prison organization that controls the Norteño street gangs. So if there was anybody that was going to allow Cain Velasquez to join the Norteños in prison, it would probably be the NF, the Nuestra Familia. Now, symbolism. The flag is primarily a signifier of affiliation with Norteños, who originated, by the way, in the 1960s to protect Northern Californian inmates from Southern-based Mexican mafia. So that right there is the history behind the North and the South when it comes to wars with Mexican gangs in California, to just kind of give you guys a little bit of some context on that.
Right, but what I did it for was because I thought that that's how you got respect within the fabric of our culture. I thought that was part of our culture. It is, to some degree, but that's what I thought, right? Anyways, it's not about me. It's about Cain Velasquez and Lucky. Lucky said, shout out to Cain Velasquez, even though he's a Norteño. Well, the bubble burster is Cain Velasquez has never been, wasn't, and never will be a Norteño. And it's not because he couldn't be, because I'm sure the cause would embrace him immediately. He's a good, upstanding individual. Did his time like a real one. He's definitely a shooter, right? No more alleged. That's done.
Yeah, that is one thing you could say about Cain Velasquez. I mean, he shot at somebody, right? What do you think gang members expect you to do, right? And even if you never do that ever again in your life, the fact that you did it once will forever be edged in your record book history. And that is enough for them to respect you for life. Unless, of course, you start snitching, then all of that goes out the door. But, in modern context today, I mean, they let a lot of people, in gangs, even though they snitch. But then there are some guys out there that, the minute that you get caught snitching, you're up out of here just like that. But, yeah.
He fits the mold of the Norteño movement and what it's supposed to be, right? Someone who has pride and loves his people, but his family as well, right? That's exactly...
So there you go. This is the reason why I feel like the Northern Persuasion is way more than just a gang. They feel like a political movement, because primarily with the United Farmers movement, that's generally what is inspired towards the Norteños, right? So this is kind of what makes them unique in that sense in the gang world.
What a Norteño strives for, the betterment of his people, the equal opportunity, social status of equality, right? Being given and allowed to be given equal rights under the protection of your cause. That's just what it is, right? So he definitely fits the mold, but he's never participated in it because it's not his world. Just because you're from places like Los Angeles, Salinas, Fresno, San Jose doesn't automatically make you a gang member. Doesn't mean that you have to participate in the shenanigans. See, every choice you make in life is your choice. Cain Velasquez made the choice to shoot at the person accused of hurting his child. That was his decision to make that day. That was on his mind. Okay? He made the decision to take it on the chin, take the deal, and go to prison and do his time. Now, he wasn't placed on an active Norteño or Southsider yard, not even close. And a lot of people keep overlooking that point. Because, and I do as well, Cain Velasquez is a civilian. He's a person that's not a criminal. He did a criminal act, and he did his time for it like anyone would, right? But Cain Velasquez didn't go to no GP mainline yard where people are banging and carrying knives in their ass.
That's exactly what I just said right now, right? Blueface, also a celebrity in his own right. he didn't go to the PC yard. Cain Velasquez is a celebrity, former world champion. He went to the PC yard. Okay? Uh, well, that's because Blueface has always been a Crip, even way before the rapping. So he said general population or nothing else at all because he did not want his Crippin to be stained in any kind of way, right? Imagine you're Blueface and you're in general and you're in the PC yard instead of general population. Yeah, you're gonna get looked at in some kind of way, and people are gonna question your Crippin. And with Cain Velasquez, it's a little bit different because he was never one in the first place. But what the video is trying to say and what Gunners Collective is trying to explain here is that there is a strong possibility that he has homies that are of that persuasion.
He didn't do all that. Cain Velasquez went to a soft, integrated, level 2 yard in Soledad State Prison where nobody is active, where nobody is gangbanging. And yes, he took pictures with a lot of different Mexicans. And I'm sure not every one of those Mexicanos in the pictures at them car shows and everything that was being released on Instagram are Norteños. I'm sure there's a lot of authors from LA because on them yards, they're mixed yards. You got dudes from Los Angeles, San Diego, the Inland Empire, Bakersfield, Kings County, Tulare County, Merced County, Stanislaus County, San Joaquin County, Santa Clara County, the Bay. You got a little bit of people from everywhere. And there's going to be a lot of raza from everywhere that were once maybe associated or affiliated or even part of in a hardcore way the North and Southern movements, but they have no longer in good standings. They are no longer participating in that. There's a lot of dudes on them yards that Cain Velasquez was on that went to them yards and stood there. Just they didn't fall off in bad standings. They never told on no one. They didn't get whacked and removed. They didn't do no weird funny shit. They merely got sentenced, went to that yard and decided, fuck that, I'm gonna stay right here and do my time. And for that reason right there, they are no longer welcome to the general population. In fact, there's little youngsters that will run around and call them pieces of shit, not because they did anything bad, but because they feel there are people who have done bad on the yards that they function alongside of. Wow, let me burst your bubble one more time. There's people on the GP right now running around telling on everything moving. Anytime dope hits, believe me, they're dropping kites to the program office, right? And people are functioning amongst them without knowing, right? So it's the same thing. The only difference is people know that this guy's no good or that this guy got fucking skepticism written all over his name. Regardless of the fact of prison politics, it is and always will be the way it is. But Cain Velasquez did not program on a functioning yard with active gang members where he would have had to make a choice. Understand me this. If Cain Velasquez went to a general population yard, GP, active gang, active, he is brown. He's a brown man. He would have had to make a decision and a choice. He could have ran with the Paisas. He could have ran with the Norteños.
There you go. Mark Haney, that confirms everything that Mark Haney was saying right there about the Paisas right there. And Gunners Collective is affirming everything that Mark Haney is saying right here.
Or he could have ran with the Southsiders. Or even the Perro Chatos, the Bulldogs, if he got placed on their yard. But look, here's the kicker, right? Some guys do that. They run with, they're not affiliated. They run with the group who's the deepest on the yard, who has that yard. I have a Theo, man. He's rest in peace, my Theo. I love him. He never was a gang member. He was a hustler, baller. Did everything but put a paño on, right? Did everything but represent gangs. He hung around Southsiders, Northerners, Bulldogs, everybody that he ran into because that was not his thing. But he was in the lifestyle, like he was with the business. He just wasn't with that particular business. And he ended up going to prison for his first term. And guess what? They placed him in Wasco State Prison. And then I think he was placed in Wasco State Prison. And then another prison he ended up going to. But he was placed in Wasco with the Bulldogs. And having not been associated and affiliated, he gravitated towards the Mexicans on the yard, which were the Bulldogs. And he got embraced and became a Perro Chato. Got out, blew everyone's fucking mind. We couldn't believe it. I said, motherfucker, you ain't even been to Fresno, right? But that's what it was. So, yes, if Cain Velasquez went to prison on the general population yard, he could have been north or south if he chose, or even around with the Paisas. But he didn't. He went to an integrated yard where you don't have to claim it. Your loyalty doesn't lie with anyone. And he chose, obviously by the pictures, to be associated and affiliated with brown people that look like him on the yard. But that doesn't mean that's all he kicked it with. Because from what I heard, Cain Velasquez was cool with the whole yard, and everybody was just cool with that. Of course, no one wanted him.
Of course, he was cool with everybody because he's a former heavyweight champion of the world, on top of the fact that he's not really a gang member, so he doesn't really have any reasons to mess with anybody.
The fuck with that dude. Period. He got hands and feet that are devastating. For Lucky from Hoodstocks, who said, man, shout out to Cain. He's glad he's out even though he's in Norteno. You know, it's kind of a messed up statement to make. Twice as his tribe, bro. What? You know what I'm saying? I'll give you respect and props for being Mexican, but you're one of them guys, right? You know, I've never seen Lucky disrespect the Northern movement. I've never seen Lucky take the initiative to do that. He was wrong in two ways right here. And shout out to Lucky from Hoodstocks. I love his channel, man. I think it's in position to be the most lucrative and best Southern California alleged active, right, podcast out there. No one could deny Hoodstocks, and that's something Lucky built with his own hands from the ground up. Gotta respect that man for being, if anything, a businessman and an entrepreneur. Someone who took something and made it his own, his dream, and he's living it, right? But sometimes, just like any other podcast, you say some stupid shit, right? Something that just doesn't make no sense. And there's going to be people like myself that are going to be, why'd you say that? Makes no sense. First of all, Cain Velasquez never was a Norteño. So when he said, even though he's a Norteño, you got to show proof, facts, and why you believe that. If you're just listening to the internet and people saying, oh, man, he was born in Salinas. He's from San Jose. No, he's not from either one of those places. He was born in one place and went to work in another. That's it. If anything, the majority of his life and what he represents is Arizona. And that's facts, right? So that man is not associated.
And that's true. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame of the Arizona State University for wrestling. So, yeah, he definitely has some stake in Arizona as well.
Nor affiliated with the Norteño cause whatsoever. Now, I know there was a lot of young Norteños running around like, Cain's one of us, Cain's one of us. You ain't even one of you, bro. Stop it. You're a wannabe, homie. And Cain doesn't want to be, man. So stop putting him in that boat. Right? Now, the second thing that, like I said, even though he's a Norteño, shows that no matter what is said, no matter the respect shown, there's always going to be that north and south thing in his head. There's always going to be that animosity or that, it's that, the Heisman Trophy. It's always going to be like that. I know a lot of Norteños, man, that are like that as well. They're no longer gangbanging actively or like that, and they still don't want to fuck with Southerners. They're like, yeah, bro, I'm always going to be a homie right here, man. I can't fuck with them fools. Bro, you're not even gangbanging. You got 6 kids, a minivan, and a fat-ass old lady. What are you talking about, bro? Yeah, but I still don't fuck with them dangs, man. I don't fuck with them vatos. Right?
Yeah, it's just, a matter of muscle memory, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, they were just taught to not... You know what? Look, I'll give you an example. I'm sort of like that with, the Shias, okay? Now, obviously, I'm a Sunni Muslim. There was a time where I just was not functioning with any Shias whatsoever, and then I just realized, you know what? This is just all out of muscle memory. Like, why is it that I don't like this person because he's a Shia? Well, it's just because, I was taught a certain doctrine, and that doctrine says you can't be around those people.
Then there's people like me that I respect everyone. I know what it is. I know killers when I see them by the dozen. Do you understand that? I know, not even because of that, but just because they're brown, man. And I've always said, as an active Norteño when I was, right? Let's not deny the fact that the establishment of gang banging, not necessarily Norteño movement, but gang banging was done in the Los Angeles area, the mecca of gang banging in California. That's where it all started. That's where vatos were really, really doing what they were doing, and they were during the 90s.
And you know what's crazy? They have vadios and gangs in Southern California that are literally 100 years old, right? Like hoods and gangs that have been around since the 1920s, right? 1 century to another, these gangs are surviving through family lineage. It's crazy.
When the gangbanging was real, man, LA was violent, right? And everybody was kind of pattering their shit, pattering, is that how you say it? After LA. Pattering, or however the fuck you say that word. Sometimes I can't say shit and I just say it the way I want to say it. But everybody was modeling their shit, there's a better word, after Los Angeles in that area, Southern California, North and South, everybody. So that's just the fucking facts and the truth. Anyways, Lucky says Cain Velasquez is a Norteño. Gunner says no. He's not. Never was.
Okay, and to a certain extent, I agree with that, but at the same time, it also doesn't mean that Cain Velasquez doesn't know people of that persuasion, and more than likely he does. So, okay, this is what I'm going to do, okay? We're going to get into the Wack 100 Rich Trapper story. For those of you that don't know, Rich Trapper is that guy that always appears in my outro, right? He supposedly exposed somebody for snitching, so let's check that out. First, let me show you who Rich Trapper is, right? The main needs, if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with... So there's Rich, and there's me. That was me on his show, okay? Made shout-outs to Kyrie, El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California represent.
That's right, Kyrie. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there. Man, my nigga Kyrie, my man Kyrie came through and he started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga whoop your fucking ass. You don't think that nigga's all squared up and all that type of shit? Nigga come through and beat your fucking ass. Like, man. Fuck you up. You would never see it coming. So
one more time.
You want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA, shout outs to Kyrie, El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California represent.
That's right. Appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there.
All right. So now that you kind of understand who Rich Trapper is and who he is to me, okay, let's get to this right here.
Y'all guys on here, you know what I'm saying, y'all feelings and all that shit, man. Nigga don't even brush his teeth up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It's a lot of dusty YouTubers on here, bro. I'm all the way in tune with what they on, bro. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of us that get on here, we want to critique and criticize and all this crazy shit, but ain't nobody perfect on this black top though, right? I mean, last time I checked, nigga, we all pissing in the same way. Everybody got a little dirt up under their fingernails from time to time, man. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is this: when we was growing up, guess what our grandparents and them was. You know what? You go get you a job. You keep your head down. You keep your head down. Don't you try to be nothing in the spotlight. You just get your job and be on the hush hush. You know, get that hush hush money. Now we're so blessed to be in a time where we can do whatever we want to do. The choice is yours. The options is yours.
All right, let's get to the Wack 100 being exposed by Rich Trapper here real quick. If you want to see the rest of this, check out Need a Boy. Rich Trapper exposes Wack 100. Let's get to that part real quick.
People think too. Same time, same kids. You could get there for about the same trip to New York. You feel me?
Come on, bro. And at the same time, like, I'm not no broke dude by far, right? But I don't never, ever, ever give y'all some good game. I don't never, ever just cash out on trips. Most of my trips, you know, I do sometimes, but I'm saying most of my trips, the majority of my trips is pre-planned. Yeah. Layaway. Yeah, put a couple dollars over there. You feel me? Come on, man. Put yourself on a layaway play. Come on, bro. If my trip costs $5,000, man, round trip, including all-inclusive hotel resorts and all that type of stuff, man, you feel me? I'm going to drop $1,000 down. You feel me? And then every month I'm going to pay a little something, up until the date I got to go. You feel me? So by that time, when I go travel, I don't got to pay $5,000 out of my pocket and still have to pay for the expenses there. And then think about it like this, too. We both parents. The kids ain't out of school till the summertime anyway. Come on now. So you going to do this in the middle of March, my nigga, you ain't even got no time for that. Come on. We got to wait for the summertime to do it anyway. So we can plan this in January to make it crack by July. We going to do it? Right. Start off, our original conversation was about me doing content with him. When I came out to LA, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago by now, I had did this run all in one day back on, Community, No Jumper, and Haters World. Did it all in the same day. Then back on, that's the first time I did my media run.
Yeah.
Mr. Viral hit me. I'm on my way to Delta. Hey, bro, I would like to do a sit down with you. I already knew who he was because Joe's my best friend. You feel me? So I'm like, oh, yeah, I got you. But I'm on my way back to Atlanta. You feel me? So I got to catch you when I stay back again.
Right.
Staying in contact with him, blah, 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 blah. Where we get to the drama at, him and Brandon get into that shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say nothing on here that me and him haven't already discussed behind closed doors. And then I even made a video like, oh, me and bro, Wookie Bam, blah, blah, blah. You mess with him.
I think taxes are something that makes all of us panic, whether or not you want to admit it. Being able
I'm tough, and
I can't speak for who he has because only behind closed doors knows what happens behind closed doors. What I'm saying as far as my involvement or my concern to snitch on it around anybody who I may have had conversations with.
you said snitch on it.
Yes, sir. So I said snitch on it.
Why you call snitch on it?
Because he be telling me. Who is on this? We'll get to that, and I'll wrap this up real quick.
All right.
All right, so this is where we wanted to get to, him saying that Wack 100 snitch. Let's hear this.
Who I communicate with and see around when I'm doing community activist work, he's nobody cares to see you. Nobody cares to have you around.
Right.
I feel like that's the like this shopkeeper might not want you, but this, gardener might like you around. I don't know. But I know that he won't show up to find out.
Right.
I know that he's made no attempt to test said theory.
Right. So, all right, for sure.
I'm good at this shit.
Yeah.
But as far as the snitching, you ain't noticed that everybody who he's ever managed is either no longer with us or in jail? Crip Mac, YCA 80 bands. It was somebody else.
Compton
TG.
X4.
Mm-hmm. Where are they at right now? Freedom guys. And God bless.
But that don't mean he put them in there, though.
So,
Okay, so that's true, right? He mentioned one guy in there, Compton TG, somebody that I'm very familiar with. He's in prison because of doing a jewelry heist, right? I don't know if that's necessarily a reason to say that, okay, it's because he snitched on him or anything like that. I mean, it's just pretty clear, cut and dry. He was doing a jewelry heist. I'm talking about Compton TG, and then he ended up in prison as a result of that. I don't know if that has anything to do with Wack 100, but let's carry on and see if there's anything that sort of resembles snitching in the accounts of what Rich Trapper is saying here.
it's a crazy coincidence. But you know what I do know is, and this is not a conspiracy theory, this is what I know. I put the video up on YouTube. Excuse me.
It's crazy,
yeah. You gotta dig and find it. It was a video he had where you could distinctly hear cop radios in the background. You could hear somebody walking in high heels on linoleum floors, like what's in the police station, all that kind of stuff. And I remember I pointed it out in the video, and he never recorded at that spot again. I know that for a fact. I also know that this nigga was playing cop in college. Parking cop, attendant cop, something where you can get you a peace officer some kind of way. Don't let me lie and say exactly how, but you a peace officer some kind of way. And then there's also a matter of this paperwork. Whatever happened to that unsealed paperwork that your big dog Rat Run Runner wanted you to have.
He said something about him wanting to be a police before, though.
Yeah, and then see, here's the thing too. And if you want to be a police officer, so be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's cool to have a police in your hood.
Yeah, do whatever.
Like, especially from your section. If he from your section and he a police officer, that's like
you would assume that would be one of the best case scenarios.
Yeah,
you feel me? Because you would be able to stay ahead of certain problems.
Not even that. It just
sort of like Denzel Washington's character in Training Day.
Yeah, if it's a police officer from the community, from that certain community, you can just worry about brutality less.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't even have to do anything illegal or put you up on game about anything. It's just,
let's just calm the boy.
This is my section. This is where I was born and raised, homie. Now we're not about to do them like that.
So why won't 600 take that approach instead of taking the snake and the snitch route? How are you online? Let's look at just one key factor. How are you online talking about a body before the mother or anybody else talks about the body, and then within however many days or hours this place gets raided or whatever the resident gets raided, and you right there talking to police, oh, what happened? It was a raid? Oh, they got him? And you're having this dialogue back and forth with the police. Now, this is what I know for a fact. I got media passes and all kind of stuff. You see me out there with the ICE riots and blah, 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 extensively past curfews.
I remember that, right. When he did the ICE riots thing, many people were upset at Rich Trapper because, well, there's a lot of black people that felt like, you know what, you shouldn't be helping them because it has nothing to do with us. It's not a black problem. It's a Mexican problem. But they decided, you know what, we're going to cancel Rich for that. He's no longer, and Rich said something to the effect of, well, you know what, guys, this could easily happen to you guys. But all right, anyways, listen, if you want to watch the rest of that, go check out Nina Boy. Rich Trapper exposes Wack 100 paperwork. Again, a lot of ambiguous language. I don't know if that really is the case, that he actually snitched on someone or not. But it seems to have, you know, a lot of traction in terms of a lot of people really saying that. Now, could it just be the fact that people are saying that out of jealousy or out of just the fact that they don't like him? Maybe. That's for you to decide. All right. So the next news we're going to get to is Prince Andrew, now arrested, right? By the way, after I react to this, I'm going to do a separate video, a separate live stream right now regarding Prince Andrew. So we're going to do that, and so we're just going to briefly talk about it right here. Here's Donald Trump in a media scrum inside the Air Force One plane talking about Prince Andrew, and then we'll get to talking about this in a separate live stream, which I'm going to do in just a few seconds from now. What is this? He says, what is this shit? That show they are broadcasting from, they are very red pill talk, all BS. Huh. Okay, which show are you talking about? He says, oh, wow. Hold on a second here. We got a few comments here that I didn't even see here. Okay, so he wasn't taking showers. Who is Cain? Cain Velasquez. Hey, shout out to Victory. Victory is in the house. He says, what is this shit? Okay. All right, so let's go with the Prince Andrew. I'm going to come back and actually do a full extended, breakdown of this entire arrest right here. So, all right.
Prince Andrew, arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country, at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. It's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
All right, so there you have it, guys. I'm going to come back and do a separate video, a separate live stream for this particular story of Prince Andrew being arrested. So I figured I wanted to give that its full undivided attention. And so, yeah, man, let's get to it. So don't forget to like and subscribe. By the way, come back in the next 5 minutes. I will be back with another live stream very soon, very, very soon. So stay put because I wanted to do a separate live stream on this. Shout out to everybody around the world and all the Muslims that are fasting for Ramadan. Keep going. 28 more days, inshallah. I'll see you in the next one very soon.